Welcome into the Joe Dickey Electric Scoreboard. Week 2 is in the books and some exciting games right down to the wire. Springfield, Brookfield, one of them. Mooney against Hubbard. A couple blowouts. Fitch, very impressive win on the road. I don't care what anybody says. McKinley could have 6 kids playing football.
Doesn't matter.
Still got to go there and win.
Yeah, it's an impressive win for them to go on the road, obviously, and do a nice job. Hats off to Cardinal Mooney in a very good game against Hubbard. Coach Antrim, they go and score late for Boardman, gets victory number 2. A lot of close games tonight, a lot of talented kids, a lot of action. Lowville goes to 2-0. I mean, there's a lot of teams. Campfield tried to tie the game up in the last play of the game and was called out of bounds. So a lot of games that we had and a lot of our show came down to the last drive.
Oh, absolutely. Niles and Alliance, 3-point game. Struthers with a come from behind.
Good win for Struthers, 2-0.
You know, the East Canton United game, down to the wire, 13-7. I mean, you can't beat that. Now, there was a few blowouts along the way in there, but overall, I was impressed. As I stated last week, I said, you see that big improvement, that jump from week 1 to week 2. Cardinal Mooney, despite that loss tonight, they've got some positive things to build off of.
Yeah, I think you build off of that for sure. Coach Pellini will do a very good job for them. That will be a team that you don't want to play, as the season gets going. Caffey got his yardage, but they made him earn every yard. There wasn't a whole lot of those big runs like he had Mike last week. So good football. And you go to Sean Guerrero, Bo Brungard, wasn't looking good.
No.
You get a safety, you go down a touchdown, they score, they get a stop, they get it back, and you go to your guy. He didn't play, I'm sure, like he wanted to play last week, and South Range is a good football team. But to go do what they did after the week they had against a good Brookfield team, that's a solid win.
They really needed that one. I told you right before we started tonight, I said that is a must-win already for them, because just from the confidence aspect, I thought the line played better.
Yes.
And it got better as the game continued. And when it came down to crunch time, boy, they made a drive to tie it, and boy, they made a drive to win it.
Yeah, 2 good drives, and I'm with you. Lean on the O-line and get some experience there for sure. And McNuggy here is going to get me the StreamYard. I'll send it to a couple coaches. Sean's one of them set. The Antrim will be on. Again, tough with the coaches late. The games run a little longer, but we enjoy this scoreboard show, and we're in blue. I think maybe we should talk about the Lisbon community a little bit.
We should. They're aching tonight. They're in a lot of pain, but tell you what, you're not alone, Lisbon. We're all with you. Prayers to the entire Lisbon community, football team, the school, everyone in Lisbon. Not only are we thinking about you, but we're with you, and you're one of us.
Yeah, they're one of us for sure. And, as the GM here, my heart and soul goes out to them. It has to stop.
Yeah.
We talked about it. It has to stop. It has to. Kids, adults, anybody, nobody knows what everybody goes through in their daily lives. When people need help, they need to just ask for it. It has to stop. I mean, we did a show yesterday at Cheney. A player loses a 10-year-old daughter. We do so many good things at YSN, and these are the hard ones.
Yeah.
That is a community that's close. I wore my blue. Quinn is part of us. He coaches there. Coach Huck, I've interviewed before, so it hurts. There's no question. And, we don't need to go into details of it, but I'm with you, Mike. From all of us, we're with you all the way. And you've done this a long time. It just needs to stop.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just that you never know. That one phone call, that one hand that you reach out to can make the difference.
Huge difference.
And I wish under the circumstances they had.
Yeah, and kids are under a lot more pressures than we were at their age. There's no question. Social media and all these things that, there's a lot of pressure.
Ban social media from any kid under 20.
It's I just want, if there's anything that we do, right. I just want to be one of those. I know you do. Want to be that guy to help or speak up or come to us, or no one should go through life with worries.
Yeah.
And there's enough worries in schoolwork, in college, in your jobs, and in the world. It's a scary time.
Yeah. I think sometimes we need to ease up on this generation, but in one form, but in another sense, we need to be a little tougher on it.
Right.
But again,
thoughts and prayers is
from
all
our
we can
hearts.
do. Yeah, from my heart too.
Everything to that Lisbon
didn't want to wear it this way, but I'm proud to wear it. You are all in our thoughts and prayers because that's a struggling community right now.
I didn't think twice. DJ sent a text this morning.
No.
He says, "Hey,
you do it.
Absolutely.
You
there
do
was
it.
no question
It's
in my mind.
88 degrees. I don't care. It's long sleeve. I don't care.
Mhm.
It's for that family, number one, that grief is going to be there for a long time in that community to pick them up. And it's our job at YSN to be there for them and pick them up. So from all of us, thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, absolutely. We're with you, Lisbon, all the way. Hey, we're going to run down the scores here.
Let's go.
Do that. Hopefully we get one
some
of our
words.
coaches in here. We got one on because we'll go right to the coach,
No,
Michael.
You need to send me the stream for them to get
Okay.
on. As soon as I
All right.
get it, I'll send them
All
out.
right, we'll do that. So I'll start. Fitch goes on the road. Very impressive win at Canton McKinley tonight, 42-28. They're 2-0 on the season. Beaver Local falls to Salem. Salem, 62-35. The Quakers, pretty good football team. Boardman, very impressive win. Showed a lot of tough character. Cheney took the lead, but Boardman rallies to come out of there. Remained perfect on the season, 16-12. The Bobby Balone show at Lowville continues, 34-20. He is a good quarterback. You have a chance to go see Lowville this year, folks. Please do. This kid can play. Hubbard, they struggled, but they beat Cardinal Mooney 21-19. What a ball game that was. The Eagles are 2-0. Columbiana goes into McDonald, hands the Blue Devils a 36-20 loss. I couldn't tell you the last time that McDonald started a season with back-to-back home losses. Crestview goes to Southern Local. They get a win, 28-6. Struthers, with a fourth-quarter rally, beats Crestwood, 25-21. Canfield, up 7-0 going into the third quarter. They give up 21 straight to Dover. They fall 21-14. Girard beats Liberty, 27-13. East Liverpool, they even their mark at 1-1, 35-14 over Indian Creek. Newton Falls, 35-10 over Jackson Milton. Poland on the win column with a 21-13 hard-fought win over Louisville. Niles goes to Alliance and beats the Aviators, 19-16. Allen falls to Ravenna, 20-13. Springfield, that might be the game of the night, 20-14. Down 14-7 in the fourth. They rally for the final two scores of the game to get their first victory. East Canton, tough one over United, 13-7. South Range continues to roll along. They beat University School 40-21. They're perfect on the season. Ursuline also 2-0 with a 50-7 win over Hickory. West Branch 48-24 over Woodridge. Middle Ridge 50, East Palestine 18. Jefferson 23-19 over Painesville Harvey. East shut out by Warren Harding 55-0. And Garrettsville Garfield 47-6 over Lakeview.
West Branch is one of those, I don't want to say under the radar because they've had some good football teams. That's an impressive win to go to Woodridge and beat them.
That's 2 road wins to start.
How about all our sponsors? Joe Dickey Electric, the Scoreboard Show, Pizza Joe's with the food, WRS, all our sponsors that
21.
Brian and DJ, 21 that are able to let us do this and give it to fans free. That's fantastic.
Yeah. You guys can listen to us rap on this, but don't forget 11:10. You can join the crew up at
Absolutely.
WFMJ.
Hop on and watch the highlights for sure.
But I'm impressed. Like, my game of the night is definitely Springfield Brookfield. The Tigers' backs were against the wall. They gave up that safety, and I'm thinking, wow, Sean DeRoe's club, and they're a pretty good club. They might be 0-2 to start the season.
Yeah, that is a gut check for sure. Hit some big plays. The ball was in his hands. But I'm with you. I think you go to the O-line there. You know, when we watched that early on, there wasn't a whole lot of yardage, wasn't a whole lot of going on. And Brookfield's a tough place to play. Hats off to them. Again, Coach Clark does a phenomenal job. And, you know, they have to feel like on their end they let one slip away.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they had it rolling their way, and they had 2 or 3 opportunities with that 7-point lead and just could not convert.
Yeah, no question.
So,
Couldn't convert it. And,
and I think Cardinal Mooney's probably heading home. Yes, they made some positive things happen in that game, but boy, they're got to think down the road, boy, we could have got this one.
Yeah, I think, they had a couple opportunities. They couldn't cash in. They played better defense, a couple big plays for Hubbard. Good football game. It was played tough. It was physical. It was fast. But, when you haven't beaten someone, you have to, any way you can, and they did that.
Well, I think the performer of the night, I heard Michael say it, the running back from East Liverpool had 200 yards. I forget what his name was.
Devin Toothman.
What a night for him. I mean, you go 200 yards in a game. That's a very productive night. I thought Poland, that was a tough, hard-fought game against Louisville. They come away with a big win and a big fourth down stand late in the game by their defense, Steve.
Oh, no question. I think that defense has stepped up in a lot of these games late and made huge plays, and they made them. You have to give them credit. They made them. The other one that gets to me is Canfield. They were down 2 scores with probably under 4 minutes to go and get a throw to the end zone to try to tie it. Unfortunately, was out of the back of the end zone and incomplete. But you have to tip your hat to Dover. They came in after Canfield put it on them last year and came to Canfield and played a nice game.
Those are 2 teams that could see each other again. That was a great ball game. Struthers, I think the fourth quarter, they rally, big win for them. Niles also rallied in the fourth quarter. So you got some teams that had some gut check times. They were able to get it done, but Columbiana, impressive road win.
Yes, after the way they played last week, again, they moved the ball last week against Lowville, scored points, got a little better defensively tonight, and we talked about it. McDonald, when's the last time a Coach Williams team, 2 straight losses at home? They lost a lot of folks. They did, and he's a great coach, and they'll continue to improve. But a big win for Columbiana to go on the road.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you just look down here. I mean, you can pick any one of these games tonight and be like, wow, this happened. Crestview, nice, impressive.
That's a nice win. Nice win. Yeah, I'm with you there. A lot of games that Salem's really good.
They got some players.
That's a really good offense. We talked quarterback wide receiver combos. They have that combination with Johnson and X-line.
I think the thing I like about Ron Johnson, he can have a senior quarterback graduate, but he's got a freshman or sophomore that he knows is going to play the next 3 years.
Yes.
He's already getting them ready when they're in a lower level.
Yes.
And I think it's big. They run that same
I'm with you.
through now.
They take that to the younger levels. When you watch them play, it looks like kids enjoy that system and style. Fantastic facilities. And you look at what he's done since he's come to Salem. That's a really good job. We go back to playoffs last year. They had Poland to the wire. And I think that I wanted to see what you thought. I think they built off that Poland game. I think that they use that as we're here now, and now we want to make the next leap.
They knocked on the door last year, and this year they've opened it right away and let everybody know we're going to be here all year.
So when you look at this, Ursuline's had 50 and 62. Salem's up there. How many points would be scored in the Salem Ursuline if they would meet up in the playoffs? That's a long way down the road. Don't get me wrong, but those are 2 talented teams in that division.
Yeah, we can look at that and think, wow, because and Ursuline can get you in multiple ways.
Sure.
You're going to let us throw?
We'll throw. You want to open the box? We have Lynch and McElroy and those guys.
I also got a quarterback that's not afraid to run either.
Yeah, I think that Division 4 is really good. I think Division 5 is really good. South Range, I'll go back to. There's, I don't think that people understand how good Michael Petrone was.
Yeah.
And Pennick has come in and Skirpak, I'm sorry. I always want to say Pennick. Yeah. Billy Skirpak has come in and
he's ready.
Kind of taken it and run with it. I mean, it's a situation where they Okay. It's a situation where they just continue to produce.
Yeah.
And I think we watch, they're throwing it more than we thought.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a credit to that football staff that, Skirpak is.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I don't believe we're done yet. Don't we have football tomorrow on YSN?
Yes, a ton of it. I know we were able to keep Coach Seidel here. I'm texting Coach Antrim right now.
People don't realize we actually stole Coach tonight. His niece might be mad at us, but
we're sorry to his niece.
We apologize to her, but him in the gunner seat during this show is fantastic. He even had a play thing on his wrist tonight.
He was all biz.
Plays. He was all business, but his insight's good, and that's what makes a show. I
loved having him. I mean, that's going to be a big loss for us. I mean, not a loss because we'll hop through it, but it's nice when you can have a coach sit with you and he kind of called Bo's play, runs the board because we know that from our end of it, we can't run the board. But how about he called the play for Bo? Like to get him out on the edge with some blockers, and Sean made us look good.
Yeah, he did.
That's the funnest part for me. People that I love working with you. I can talk sports with you all the time, but all the behind the scenes people, Michael McKenzie, what he did tonight, charging touchdowns, and he had 5 games on.
Yeah, we had Eric in here. Sarah was back.
Coach
Billy
Mack.
I mean,
it's without them,
we
couldn't do that. No, it's
all right, guys. We got our first coach of the evening. It is Coach Seth Antrim.
All right, there he is. He's still smiling from last week.
I don't know what I am right now.
First off, thanks for coming on with us, but what a win. I mean, what a gut check time your team had. Janie gave you everything you wanted tonight, didn't they?
They did. Yeah, and I assumed it'd be like that. Those kids play hard, and that's probably an understatement. They loaded the box defensively, and we were going to try to run through it. We tried to get the ball on the perimeter. They were tackling well in space. Just both teams battled.
Coach, it's a great win. I was impressed by the way you answered back. They took the lead. You get the ball. You hit some big plays. Shout out to that group. And again, the offensive line, that last drive, you kind of leaned on them a little bit. Talk about their improvement. Maybe we talk a lot, the improvement from first half to second half after you get down.
Yeah. I mean, they kept doing their thing for sure. That screen we hit, that last drive was big with that pass interference call, helped out. Once we got across midfield, we leaned on them a couple more times and they got the job done.
Coach, when you look at this, that's not an easy defensive front to play against, is it?
Not at all. No, that box was loaded.
There's a lot of weight to move.
Yes, definitely. Yep.
That was
two DNs they have. I mean, that's a really good defense we just went up against.
No question. And Spartans 2-0. That's exciting to see. I talk to you each week. The community was out. I thought a good crowd. Rand Stadium is, Mike and I said, it's one of my favorite places. It's old school. The streets there, the houses, the buses. People don't understand how hard Mike, I don't think they understand how hard those two teams played tonight.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that was a 4-quarter war.
It really was.
So tell us, Coach Emil, he had great things. I talked with you. We had him on. We were over at Cheney. How was it? It's special when you two could embrace after. I'm sure somebody has to lose, but you've been at both places. You're trying to build your program. Those kids, I was so impressed, Coach, with them over there. They have players. It's like we talk about this. How are you going to get to school? How are you going to get fed? A young man going to Boston College, which is phenomenal. A teammate loses a sister at 10. We say all the time, this stuff has to stop. You've been a part of that. You have to be impressed by the way those kids continue to grind through it.
Definitely. I mean, you add all that into it. And like, I know Coach Chris said it probably in his interview, because we say it all the time. Football's, one of the last things you get to over there. I mean, you're teaching life, you're coaching life, you're you truly are a family when you're part of that environment and what's going on. And then, I mean, you look at, they lose, not even arguably, but their best player last week, and they come out here and play like they did. I mean, those kids have heart.
What'd you learn about your team this week? Because they faced adversity and they answered the bell.
Yeah, obviously we, still need to correct some things. We confirmed that, but we showed that we can battle back and play with heart too. We showed it a lot against Mooney, but like you said, Steve, coming back after they score, put that drive together, a couple 3rd and longs. I think it was a 3rd and 9 when we hit the screen. We're going to battle back too, and we're going to fight and claw.
I'm not sure, you may not know this, but Cardinal Mooney took Hubbard, had the ball, chance to win the game. So don't sleep on Boardman, Mike's first win against Cardinal Mooney, because they're going to get better every week. They did this week. I played them really tough. That's what I love about what you do. Your schedule, now you're probably already ready to, I think it's Massillon Jackson next week. It does not get any easier for the Spartans. Is that one of the reasons why the job became so attractive? Just Boardman community, the stadium, the kids, and the schedule that you play?
Definitely, yeah. We definitely have one of the tougher schedules. You're right. We go to Massillon Jackson next week, and it's a battle every week. I mean, and you're going to see different styles of football every week too. I haven't watched Massillon a whole lot yet. I watched after I took the job. I watched their game from last year, and not very many weaknesses, and I'm sure they're going to be the same way this year.
Wow.
That's perfect.
Yeah, from all of us, congrats. I guess to end it, you ran the ball well, you hit the big plays. I think your defense, again, continues to improve every week. How was it for you? I talked with Clive yesterday. We talked with him on the show. He had great things to say about you. You're a great person. You're a family guy. How was it for you to go back there and see those kids and be able to shake hands and say hello to them after the game?
It was awesome. I truly love those guys. I mean, it's still family. We're wearing different colors right now, but a lot of those guys, not necessarily Clive, but JR, I had those guys in junior high. So I had them, 4 or 5 years through school plus coaching. And, they're fortunate to have Chris there to put this thing together they're doing over there.
Well, Mike, I know you agree with me. They're fortunate to have a Coach Antrim for years, and you've earned your stripes to put that head coach on. We'll let you go and enjoy another win maybe for a few minutes. I know you're going to be back at it bright and early, I'm sure, but we'll talk again next week. Just wanted to shout you out. 2-0 for the Boardman Spartan, Mike. It's exciting times. When we say this all the time, when some of these schools with great programs get off to good starts, it's fun for us, and we look forward to covering you all year.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
All right, Coach. Thanks.
Go enjoy it.
Thank you.
There you have it. I mean, he was perfect in what he said. I think this was probably a little harder game for him to coach than what he wanted to admit.
Because
he knew the other side.
You have those guys that are D1 recruits at the defensive ends.
Yeah.
I talked with Mike Pav, and he talked about Cheney's ends. He's like, I don't know how we'll block them. You see when we were at Cheney yesterday, the physicality of them, the tough love that Chris gives them that they have to have. We just talked about that in the Lisbon situation. Those kids, respect their coaches. Are they going to make mistakes? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. But that football team, 0-2, and will continue to give teams trouble with a sophomore quarterback.
Yeah. And, as Coach said, they're missing their best player. They know that. They could have easily folded, the tents up and ran.
Yes.
They did not.
No.
They came and
they came out. They got the stop to start the third. Remember, then I think they took it and got stopped on downs on the goal line, got it back and went down and scored, and then take the lead. And you have to tip your cap to Boardman.
Yeah.
You do. That was a comeback that, you're still figuring out quarterback situations. Terrence Thomas isn't there yet. He's a Purdue commit. Running back's a quarterback, and Sean O'Hara had some plays, and they hit the screen. I'm happy for a Seth Antrim. Yeah. I'm disappointed, obviously, for a Coach Emile and all these guys that spend time with it. But what we do, how about the entertainment that they provide us?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, what they do, the whole thing works. They're making fun of you.
Yeah, they are making fun of me because I can't even turn my headset around, but we're just going to leave it like
We're
that
all right, man.
because this is YSN and we all make mistakes. So
It all
just
works.
going to leave like that. I could hear.
That way you can hear.
Yeah, I could hear. Real good.
So, or we can break that one off.
Yep.
And you can be
I have
like
a text
football
in to
coach.
Sean. He's going to
So-
give us a shout.
Speaking of Coach Guerrero, he's joining us right now on the Joe
Perfect.
Dickey Electric Scoreboard Show.
Absolutely.
There he is.
So,
I'm
getting
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm
You're-
on the bus right now.
why would you be sorry to us?
Yeah.
You got nothing to be sorry about, Coach. First off, congratulations. That was a gut check, hard fought win for this program.
Right now, I mean, our kids fought last week too. You know, I mean, they're always going to play 4 quarters. I was just proud of them on how we continued to, try to establish the run game, and when we had a couple kids make some plays on the outside, so defense stepped up big time. I think it was, I don't know if it was at the end of the third or the beginning of the fourth. Our defense with that goal line stand, what a tremendous stop for our defense. Showed a lot of guts. I think it could have been first down and 4, and we held them out. So our defense definitely improved, and I just think we're trying to find our rhythm. Still a little bit on offense.
Well, I think the big thing I noticed, I know last week just watching the game against South Range, brand new offensive line. We saw them struggle a little bit. And I think Bo maybe was trying to overcompensate a little bit. This week I noticed something when you needed a drive late in the game. I mean, you got 14 points in the fourth quarter. I was very impressed with that offensive line in the fourth quarter. It was like they were starting to gel, Coach.
Well, they're starting to come together, and again, I know for us, I talked about it in the preseason. For us, I think the later in the year that we get, the better off we're going to be. We got some veteran guys, on our team, but we still got some guys that don't have a lot of experience. So the more and more reps that they get, the better that they'll be. So we just got to make sure that we keep putting the work in on Monday through Thursday, and then hopefully it'll end up showing on Friday.
Well, there's no doubt you put the work in. I saw great improvement, Sean, from week 1 to 2. Brookfield, hats off to them. That's a talented football team with some very athletic players. I'm with you. I thought your defense was phenomenal, and a guy that was huge for me tonight that stepped up when he was needed was Bo Snyder. Talk about him a little bit.
Well, he's kind of the quarterback of our defense right now. I know last week he played Will Force. Jay Joyce was out this week, so he moved to outside. So, like I said, we're moving some guys around, and I think if we can get them settled in, when we get healthy, and we can have guys kind of get in on a position where they're not flipping every week. I think that'll be a bonus for us. But Bo does a great job. I know he was disappointed last Friday. He actually had a great week of practice of stepping up and just making sure defensively focused on tackling and communicating and just getting lined up and playing football and making sure we're not seeing too much. So I just think our defense made a lot of strides.
Absolutely. I thought the defense has played phenomenal against this one. That Brookfield team, they got a big offensive line. They kind of had their way in week 1, when they played. And I thought, you guys to hold them to 14 points, that shows how good your defense can be.
With that too, they got some athletes.
Whew.
I couldn't tell you.
Yes.
I couldn't tell you his name, but they went up a couple of times, and it's hard when you have got coverage, whether we're in man or we're in cover 3 or whatever we're in. When you try to contain those guys, and we don't give up big plays, but he had a great catch in the corner of the end zone. I thought Joe Sandine had great coverage, but he just made a great play.
Does it get any better than Coach calling on the bus? Coach, we appreciate you calling.
Absolutely.
Definitely saw improvement, a gut check, and Bo Brungard making plays that we've watched him do. Enjoy the rest of the bus ride, and we appreciate you calling. But shout out to a lot of those youngsters at Springfield that got another week of game experience and continue to improve. So congrats, and we'll talk to you next week.
Hey, thanks so much. I appreciate you having me.
Thanks, Coach.
That's awesome when you can do that.
I love that. Yeah,
The StreamYard, we talked about it,
Yeah.
is
it's perfect.
Yeah.
You know, you got him. You can tell he's happy for that team because they're hard work. They
Yes.
listened to what they wanted. They put in a game plan. They followed it. They never wavered.
No.
Even though they, were down 5, then give up a safety and have to give the ball back, the defense stopped them. I think the defense had to stop them one more time before they make the drive to tie it. But then they stop them again. And what a drive to finish that game off with, 40 seconds left. You get the win. I mean, that's fantastic.
I'm going to put one more out to Coach Yeagley and see if we can get him on. Yeah, it's fantastic when you talked about, adversity. Springfield had it.
Yeah.
In a tough environment.
Yeah, not an easy place to go play.
No.
Brookfield.
And he said it's some skilled players.
Yeah.
I mean, there were some athletes on that field tonight that I just put a text in to Coach Yeagley, see if we can get him on to finish it.
Well, and you feel for Randy Clark. That would have been win number 100 for him.
Against that program.
So, you win it against that program. And it's not that, I'm sure he's going to find things throughout the film that, boy, if we had done this instead of this. And every coach has that in every game. But that, that ends up being a tough loss for them. But at the same time, there's things that Brookfield can build off from this game. And
Yes.
I think, they know that they contained one of the best athletes in this area in Bo Brungard.
Right. I thought they did a great job. And at the end, great players just make plays. He hit some balls.
He did.
I like Sean's calls, some quick passing, attacked the blitz a little bit, but their defense made some huge stops.
Mm-hmm.
They tie the game there, and I think, like Michael said, they get a kick return out past the 40, and they get a 3-and-out against them.
Yeah.
So they'll improve on defense. I think that they're moving a lot of people around. And are you surprised that Bo Brungard worked as hard as he did for this week of practice?
No, not at all.
No.
I'm sure Coach Brungard,
Sure.
I just remember Mark from his playing days.
Sure.
That
Same
calm,
style.
cool demeanor. To have that as your dad, and I remember the mom saying last year when we were down in the state semifinal game, how they don't talk a lot of football at home unless it's asked. I'm going to guess that Bo probably approached Dad this week.
I would think so.
They had a pretty good
I would
talk.
think so. And that's a good thing. How much does that help them?
Oh, it's immense.
Right.
I mean, here's a guy, and a lot of people don't know this. In one of the national championship games that they won, he had set the standard for all, he's held that record since that time in the 90s. I believe he was 9-9 or 11-11 in that game. And the funny thing was, people say, well, yes, YSU ran the ball. But when they needed passes, Mark Brungard made them.
Right.
And if Coach Tressel would have wanted to open that up when Mark Brungard was there, he could have opened that up because that kid could sling the ball everywhere.
Mark just played the system
Yeah.
to perfection.
Perfect. And probably one of the most coachable athletes I've ever met and one of the nicest guys I've ever met. Mark Brungard is tops on my list.
Yes, he's a father, been a great head coach. That's what impresses me, great head coach that has eased in with his kids and took a job with Sean and loves what he does.
He could still be sitting at Fulham if he wanted.
No doubt.
You know.
He can probably sat at a lot of other places
Yeah.
where he could have been the head coach, but
The just unselfishness of him. I want to see my kids play.
So-
That was fantastic.
so when I ask you that now, how good is South Range?
They replaced a pretty good quarterback in Patron. I mean, a pretty good quarterback.
Skurpak is
Skurpak has been dynamite. We knew what Dominguez brought to the table. But for Dan Yeagley, you bring back that veteran offensive line.
it's so important.
Do you know how easy it is, when you've got to replace 4 starters, 3 starters? 2, I think you can get away with because the other
Have the
3
three. Have
can
play.
bring them along.
When you only have 2 back,
Then it gets harder.
yes.
And especially at 4. So I look at that. That offensive line's good. The tight end blocks so good at South Range. They're not usually in the pass catching plays because that's the guy they hold in the block because Do you want the Mingus to throw the block, or would you like him to get out in the flat and be open?
And their other skill guys just do their job.
They just do their
And
job.
you're just going to hear more and more names each week.
They got some pretty good games coming up.
Yes.
That division.
A Hubbard South Range.
Yeah.
Poland.
Gerard.
I was impressed with Dylan Greenwood at Struthers to lead that comeback.
Mhm.
2-0 for Struthers.
Yeah.
There's a lot of teams that are 2-0 that can do some damage.
Oh, absolutely. And, you look at some other teams that come here and, for Gerard,
It's a good win.
After what happened in the second half last week,
Right.
they were toe to toe.
And then just got away from them fast.
Yeah, and when it went away bad. Liberty, hey.
Great game last week.
Yeah.
And played pretty hard here.
And played very, I thought they held their own again. A team that we've got to see in person. I want to go watch Lobo. I want to watch Bobby Balone in person because that kid,
Vinny.
Vinny.
Bobby was the older brother that played, was a great player. His dad that follows us.
I'm sorry to the Balone family. They're going to be mad at me.
Oh.
But Vinny is fantastic. I mean,
What
that kid can sling it.
And it's out of his hand quick.
Yeah. Very smart.
September 10th rings one for me. They'll play Springfield.
Yeah.
You want to talk two pretty good quarterbacks.
Yeah. That game may end at 10:45.
Yeah, we may not have a Joe Dickey electric scoreboard.
We may have to just go there and interview both.
You're
coaches,
right.
But those are the games that now you start to look forward to because now you get to see a certain player against a certain player.
And there's another team. They're 2-0. A lot of talent. That combo, Balone and Bonoski. Those guys, that's what impresses me. Our quarterbacks will throw the ball in the tight spots to some of the receivers we have in our area. And the back shoulders, the fades. We've seen a lot of that the last 2 years on this show.
Yeah.
More passing, a little more spread. Hubbard is in that league. Mm-hmm. There's Hubbard, Poland, South Range. I don't want to exclude anybody. There's some scoring in that league. And to me, it's going to be who can improve on the defensive end the most.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, we can talk about this offense all we want, but it's going to be the team that steps up and makes that one or two defensive plays in each of those games.
Right.
That could be the difference.
Yeah, and that league is the NE8 is phenomenal.
Oh, I love that league.
The coaches in there are good. Hoffman's a great coach. Coach Yeagley, Coach Pav over at Lakeview, and now he's over at Poland. We'll get them in the right direction. And Canfield, that's a tough loss.
It is, but knowing Mike Pavlansky, he learned a lot about his football team.
They play a tough schedule. We talked when we talked.
Mm-hmm. They could have easily folded it 21-7 and said, all right,
showed some guts.
They showed a lot of guts tonight. And they almost – I would love to see the angle. Like how.
Yeah, we didn't have a great angle of it. I'm with you, but –
I mean, it was right there.
Does a loss help you?
Sometimes it does because it's the way you went down in that loss.
Sure.
You can go down in a loss and be absolutely blown off the field, or you can give away a game in a loss. I'm sure Mike will think that
somewhere in between.
Yeah, somewhere in between. But it's what he saw in the last 4 minutes
that you build off.
That you absolutely.
And Sean, I have to believe the same way. There was a lot to learn from on the South Range tape,
mm-hmm.
and you lean on that as a defense, and you're moving guys around.
And they never quit week one.
No,
that was
they kept playing. Right,
they got a late touchdown in that game, and I honestly think those are some things.
Yeah.
That help teams.
How good are all our area coaches? When they lose a game, how much better do they improve?
Well, they each get better from it because if you don't, it'll swallow you up real quick. I've always said something about Dan Reardon that I like. His approach to each game. They walk in, we're not 2-0 now going into week 3. He takes it as both teams need to establish something. And I always thought that he will build a team and bring it up.
They have a pretty good test coming this Friday night. They go to Chardon, who's the state champs.
Going to find out real quick.
Yeah, and I will not be surprised if they go up there and get that one. It's just a team that's – I think their experience is what all those young guys that got that experience, and unfortunate the way the state playoffs ended, but those young kids that played in that Menor Lake game ones now that are playing. And Erickson is a sophomore playing a lot on defense. Bernie scored tonight, obviously.
Well, and
Just talented.
like you say, what can you learn from a loss? You don't think that Menor Lake Catholic game
I'm sure.
just stewed with them all offseason?
I'm sure.
You know.
And those coaches do a good job. And, you know, to have a Brady Shannon and Dean Boyd to go into Harvard and Ja'Kylan Irving as the receivers. But for them, it's McElroy's that guy that we talked running backs in the show that gets the tough yards. Lynch is a younger running back that's going to be the next one. They just get good athletes and they do great things, and their schedule prepares them. I think that, again, I'll go back to Boardman's making some improvements in D2. Harding has had a big win tonight against East. We don't cover them, but they will get better. But I think from Division III down, Mike, we say this all the time, we have some teams that can make long runs.
I know we didn't really mention this yet, but Brian Shaner got his first win of the year tonight.
There's another guy that,
You know, I was impressed with the way they played Pie Valley last week.
yes,
And, you know,
who was much bigger.
yes, and they hung with that.
Yes.
And they really played well. Yes, they went to East Palestine tonight, but
Took care of business.
They simply come in and said, here we go.
Right.
We're here. We're going to get it done. They did.
The improvement stretch for them is one you talk about week 1 to 2. You know, we go down a list of all these teams that
Columbiana's improvement.
yes, I have
Yeah.
to shout out to Louisville, who lost
Yeah.
another tough game tonight. Went to Struthers and had a ball in hand to try to win the game.
They did. You know, Pullman's defense, though, as a big fourth down stop.
Yes, on the goal line. Yes, and Christian Calissimo made some big plays around the goal line. Big players make big plays.
What do you say? We run this down and we call it a night?
Run it down and call it a night, my friend, for
Okay.
sure. It's
Absolutely.
all yours.
All right. We're going to run the final scores down for you from week 2. We'll start Austintown Fitch, 42-28 over Canton McKinley. Beaver Local falls to Salem, 62-35. Boardman with a nice gut check win over Cheney, 16-12. Lowville defeats Camel, 34-20. Hubbard in a tight win against Cardinal Mooney, 21-19. Columbiana, 36, McDonald 20. Crestview beats Southern Local 28-6. Struthers with a fourth quarter rally to beat Crestwood 25-21. Campfield loses a heartbreaker to Dover 21-14. Girard 27-13 over Liberty. East Liverpool gets their first win 35-14 over Indian Creek. Newton Falls 35-10 over Jackson Milton. Poland and a nice win for them 21-13 over Louisville. Niles 19, Alliance 16. Ravenna 20-13 over Howland. Springfield 2 fourth quarter touchdowns to beat Brookfield 20-14. East Canton 13-7 over United. South Range 40-21 over University School. Ursuline steps across the border in Pennsylvania and beats Hickory 50-7. West Branch 48, Woodridge 24. Middle Ridge 50-18 over East Palestine. Jefferson beats Painesville Harvey 23-19. Warren Harding over East 55-0. And Garrettsville Garfield 47-6 over Lakeview. So that puts a wrap on week 2, and boy, I can't wait till week 3.
And tomorrow we have some games. Next week, Coach Seidel will have his opener tomorrow. We wish him the best of luck from all of us at YSN.
Absolutely. Appreciate Coach Seidel.
Yeah, he was fun to have here. And again, working with you, I
Steve,
enjoy
this is
every
piece of
second.
cake
This
working
is
with you. This is fun.
We could sit here for a long time, and it's a credit, you know, as well as I do, DJ and Brian. Give us the opportunities that we love to do. Our sponsors, to be able to put games on free. Yeah. I know you love doing this.
Yeah, this is a blast for me. I do want to end it tonight, though, with a shout out to the Lisbon community.
Yeah,
Lisbon strong. We are with you. We are all one. We are all in this fight together with you. Prayers, and
it's a heavy heart.
Yeah,
we leave here with heavy hearts, and the struggles that, let's be honest, are real, and those have to stop. And for that community, they're strong, they're tough, and like you said it best. They have us all at YSN, and we're behind you, and you're in our thoughts and prayers.
Absolutely. Thanks for tuning in to the Joe Dickey Electric Scoreboard. Hey, you're not done watching high school football. Tune over to WFMJ and watch the overtime report. It should be starting in about 18 minutes. Have a good one, folks.